Hey everyone, today I'm going to cover global containers, another one of the most essential features for making your interface come to life. And global containers are containers that appear consistently across every page of your project. Probably most importantly, these are used for buttons to flip pages, but some other common examples that you could put in a global container are like a clock or a logo or something like that. But for this video, we're essentially going to be going through how to set up your buttons to flip pages and put them on the global containers. So to start out, let's go ahead and make two pages. And I'm going to call the first one home. And for the second one, we're going to call it bedroom, just for example. All right, and then we're going to go over to the global container section. And we're going to go ahead and create one. This one will be a header. And we're going to have that at the default position at the top. It's the header. We're going to do the same thing for a footer, but this one will be on the bottom. And here you have the option to change the positioning based on which orientation your page is at. So say, for example, if I wanted it to the footer to go on the right side of the page whenever my device is turned horizontally, for example, I can definitely do that. It's the horizontal area. So I'll just click that and put it on the right. For this one, we're just going to keep it at the bottom, but we'll get to this later. And you could also hide these global containers on specific pages. So if you wanted it to not show up on the home, that's how you do it here. Same thing, you can make it specifically visible on certain pages. So we're also going to kind of go through this a little bit later. But let's hop into the editor, and this is what it's going to look like. We're on the home page that we made, and we have our header up here and our footer down here. And just like our normal containers, you have a lot of customization available for you. So if you go through here, you can choose your elements to be vertical or horizontal. You can see how they're spread out and aligned on the container. There's so many options here, sizing. You can do a border, change the colors in the background. So there's a lot of options here. And first thing we're going to do is just label these pages just so it's a little bit clear for us. So we're going to drag and drop a text box here. We're going to click on it, go to content, and then we're going to change this to home. And I'm also going to size it up just a little bit just to make it a little bit more clear. We'll do 25, that looks good. And then let's do the same thing for bedroom. So we'll drag over here, click on it, go to content, and then we'll change it to bedroom. And then go over to appearance, font, and then we'll set this one 25 as well. Great, so we got both of those labeled. So now I want to add buttons that allow us to flip between both of these pages. So how we're going to do that is we're going to put these in the footer. Seems like a good spot to do it. We're going to add two buttons. And first thing we're going to do is just adjust the name for both of these. So this will be our home button, and this one will be our bedroom button. And now that we have that, we have to actually make these functional. So how we do that is we click on it, and we're going to go over to actions over here, and then we'll add a new action. This page has a lot going on, and we're going to get into that in future videos, but for this specific purpose, we're going to go over to routing, and it's going to be on page flip already, so no need to change that. We're going to change the target page to home because that's the button that we had attached to it. Create action. So this one is set. So once we go in the live preview, if we click this, it'll take us to this page, the home page. So let's do the same thing for bedroom. We're going to go to actions, add a new action, routing, page flip, and then we're going to do bedroom. And just to test this out, we have to go over to the live preview. That's going to be on the top right up here. And as you can see, we can switch between them now. So this is really helpful. This is a very common thing in interfaces, so probably one of the first things to learn with global containers. Okay, so now let's take this concept a step further. Maybe we just want one button in the footer and for it to switch where it takes us based on which page we're on. And this is incredibly easy to do, so let's go through it. I'll go back to our global containers here, and I'm just going to add one called bedroom. And what we're going to want to do is hide this global container on the home page. We only want this one to show up in the bedroom. And then where we had the buttons originally, we're going to hide that one on the bedroom. So basically we're replacing the footer in the bedroom page with this global container. So this one is not showing up anymore. It'll be only this one. So now just to show you what that did, if we load up the live preview and we go to the bedroom there's now nothing here because we haven't set anything. But now that footer that we had on the home page, it's not showing up. So let's fix that. So we're going to go to our bedroom page, and we're essentially going to do what we already did. We're going to go add a button, and this button is going to be for home to flip us to the home page. And then we need to add an action, and this one is going to take us page flip to the home page. So create that, and then we can also just delete this one now. It's kind of irrelevant. And with all that taken care of, let's head back into live preview and see what happens. So we're on the home page. We just have the bedroom button, and if we click that, it's just the home button. So it makes things a lot cleaner. You know, you can just toggle between these two. You don't have to have multiple buttons here, but if you wanted to, you could also have multiple buttons. It's really up to you. This is really just one kind of example of the creative layouts you can make in AVstudio Editor. Maybe you'll choose to have completely different footers for each page or have everything stay consistent. It really just depends what you're going for. But the bottom line is that it will take you significantly less time to set these kinds of things up in AVstudio Editor rather than with other platforms. Now, I want to point out some flexibility for different resolutions when it comes to global containers. So let's go back to the global containers tab here. And I mentioned earlier that you can kind of adjust the positioning based on what orientation the device is at. So let's just set our footer, and we're going to set that to right whenever it's horizontal. And if we go back to the live preview, we can see what that does. So as you can see, it's on the right-hand side now that it's majority horizontal, but let's say if it's a vertical, like a phone, it'll go back to the bottom like how we had it before. And you can, switch up either way. You can do, it'll be on the right here or bottom. So now you can see it's switched. And if I move it horizontal, it's going to be back to how we had it. So yeah, you can definitely mess around with these. Very helpful. This is a pretty basic demonstration, but you get the idea. And another helpful tool for seeing how your elements shift based on resolution and device orientation, if we go back to the live preview and you click on View up here and toggle Developer Tools, this is going to bring up the debug console. And this is going to have a lot of helpful features here, but for now, we're not going over that. That'll be in another video. What we wanted to see is this up here. So dimensions. You can go through several different devices that we have already plugged in here. You can add even more as well. But the real big thing here is you can just toggle between horizontal based on whatever device you have. So say we wanted to do iPad Pro. So we're in the iPad Pro dimensions, and this is what it looks like with that orientation, and then the other way. So this is a super easy tool to just figure out exactly how your elements are going to adjust based on whatever device you're going to be putting your interface on. All right, well, that is about everything for this video. If you need additional help, you can check out our documentation page, or feel free to comment below, email us, or visit our community portals, and all of that will be linked in the video description. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and leave any feedback or questions you have in the comments.